Hello. This is going to be my first ASMR video, and you're going to get a tour of my bookshelf. Yay! I don't know if I have a lot of books as far as book people standards go, but I think I have enough. So, the first one is called The Silver Star, and it's by Gina. And let's see. There we go. It's a really nice book. It's about these two kids who really have an absentee mother who kind of abandons them. And so they go to Virginia, I believe, and they find their family is, I think, slightly autistic, and they have a lot of adventures there. They go to school there, and that's just on the eve of segregation, and their family used to basically own the town there, and so they kind of get to discover their mother's history that she left behind. The next book is, there's a lot of ways to pronounce it. I call it Aleph, but some people call it Alif. But it's by Paulo Coelho. I actually haven't finished this one yet, but I finished another book of his called Brida. That was really good. He's kind of a spiritualist, obviously, right there it says, but he's really into writing about past lives and discovering who you were. And it's kind of a nice thing. Again, I haven't finished it, but I plan to. And the next book is called The Catcher in the Rye. That's a pretty famous book, J.D. Salinger. I mean, it's pretty famous because John Lennon's killer credited this book and no one really knows why. If you've ever read it, it's this kid who's in, I don't want to say finishing school because I don't really know what the term is, but I'm just going to call it finishing school. And he just kind of looks around at his life and he feels like everyone's a phony. And it's sad, I think, but enjoyable. I've read this book many times. We had to read it in high school, and I think a lot of you had too as well. I've never really figured out what this cover was for. The picture. I'm sure if I read it again, I'll know. It's a little dusty. I have two dogs, and they're I don't want to say dirty, but they bring up a lot of dust. This is just it used to be like one of those kitchen tins that you put flour and sugar, but I made it into a pen and marker tin. A lot of pens and markers, clearly. I don't have any nails, so I know that's taking the charm out of the video. I'll try. And that's just a picture frame. It's backwards because I don't really want you to see who's there, but that's a bullet. Okay, so the next books I have are Lone Survivor by Marcus Luttrell. They made a movie about it, so I'm pretty sure everyone knows what it is, but for those of you who don't, it's about a SEAL team that went into Afghanistan and their mission just didn't work. And Marcus was the lone survivor of the mission. He's not very nice about the government in this book. And he's not. I mean, for good reason, but he, I don't know, it's a very compelling story. It's quite a long book. And, you know, he just talks about how he felt, and it brought me to tears. And I don't know if, for those of you that are really into military history, not history, well, I guess history, but military stories and books, I mean, if you're going to read any book, this is the one that you should read. This is the Navy SEAL emblem. This book is actually, the emblem is embossed on it. Let's see if we can get kind of a look. Not really. But it's embossed, and see if you can kind of feel it. And that's just the symbol for the Navy SEALs. Like I said, this book brought me to tears, and I've read it a couple times. But you know, it's not an easy read if you're looking for a quick read. But in the middle, it does have pictures, and that's Marcus. Oh, and those are his friends and his teammates that passed away. So I rather enjoyed this book, and it's been used, gently used, as you can tell. The next book is called Nobody's Son. And I don't really remember reading this one, to be honest. Because I read it once. And it was my roommate's in college. And she had to read it for a class. And she was going to just throw it away. And I've never believed in throwing books away. So I took it off her hands for her. But I do remember liking it. It's an award winner, so that's nice. Let's see, it says, born to a Mexican father and an Anglo mother, Luis grew up in the middle of a clash of cultures and languages. In prose that seethed with energy and crackles with dark humor, he tells a story of what it means to belong to a nation that is sometimes painfully multicultural. Okay. I don't know if anybody's a fan of prose writing. I am. But it's kind of, to me, what prose means is semi-true, just thoughts on paper kind of thing. I used to do a lot of it while I was in school. And it was a way to get the energy out. This next one is called Enrique's Journey. And this was my husband's book. He said it was just terribly, terribly sad. He had to read it for a class, and he didn't like it, so I've never read it. I've been meaning to, but he says it's sad, and so I don't really want to be sad. Oh, I didn't know there were pictures. Okay, I think it's about immigration, but I'm not really sure. I wonder what the description says. I have this on manual focus, so I'm sorry you can't really read it. Let's see. In this astonishing story, Sonia Nazario recounts the unforgettable odyssey of a Honduran boy who braves unimaginable hardship and peril to find his mother in the United States. Okay, so I knew it. It is about immigration. Okay. The next book is called Going After, okay, I don't know how to really pronounce this, but I'm going to try. And it's Going After Cacciato. And, surprise, it's another war book, but it's Vietnam era. If anybody is familiar with Tim O'Brien, he wrote The Things They Carried, which is a massive, massive success. And this book is kind of like it. I haven't finished it. I've started and restarted it a couple times, but it's very slow moving. Basically, it's this guy who kind of leaves his unit, and obviously his name's Cacciato. He leaves his unit, and they go after him, and they find these clues along the way. He thinks he's going to go to Paris from Vietnam. And that's all I know because that's how far I got. I mean, honestly, I didn't get all that far. But, you know, like I said, it's slow moving and not that exciting. The Things They Carry is a much more fulfilling book, I think. Sometimes book reviews make me laugh because they put the weirdest quotes. I guess. I don't know. I guess it's a literary thing. Next book is called Painkillers by Jerry Stahl. And this is one that I also haven't finished. I've started and stopped and restarted and stopped again. And it's not that it's hard to get through, it's just it doesn't hold my interest. And I don't really know why. It never has. But this one, a lot of my books I saw in my college's bookstore. And I probably shouldn't have bought them from there because I'm sure people needed them for their college assignments, but I mean, there's always been textbooks that you couldn't find, and I just had a thought that because this isn't really a textbook, you can just find it on Amazon or literally anywhere else. What attracted me the most about the book, though, is the cover. And I know, don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes you just do. You can't help it. I like red and black together. I think they're good colors. I'm sure it'll be a good book when I actually finish it, but ooh, fingerprints. For now, I'm not going to. Okay, so these next two books are also by Jeanette Walls. Do you see what I'm saying about how you can always tell that it's her book because of she's got a black frame and very, very simple writing font. It's a little bit embossed all the time. The covers are very, very simple. So these two books kind of go together. This kind of, I guess you could call the prequel to this one. This one is her autobiography, and it's a bestseller. It's kind of sad, but, you know, she had these two parents that probably just shouldn't have been together, and they were, and her dad was an alcoholic. He was ex-Air Force, and they moved all over the United States. And this one is about her grandmother, and this one's set in the 1920s and on a farm. As you can see, I think I got some water on it, water damage, and I didn't mean to. It kind of breaks my heart when books get damaged. But it happens. But I lost my train of thought. I like Jeanette Walls as a writer. I think she's really good. These two are nonfiction, and then the blue one from earlier was fiction. But it is the same familiar style. It's set in Virginia, which for the majority of her life she lived in Virginia with her parents, and it was a coal mining town. I mean, you're just kind of transported there when you read it. And again, there's the red and black, so You know, I'm gonna go for it, right? And the next one is by Albert Camus. It's called The Stranger. And I've never read anything else by Camus because I don't know if he's like a huge seller. I mean, I'm sure he is, but I just never found anything other than The Stranger. This is another one that I had to read in high school. And I enjoyed it more than my classmates did. And I think it's because they didn't really get it. There was a lot of symbolism in this book. That it's very, what would you call it? Symmetrical. So symbols and everything that you find in the beginning that you will find in the end as well. But again, I'm in the middle of it. It's a very small book. I should be able to recall, but it's one of those books that it's hard to describe because there's so much going on within it that on the surface it seems like it's just about this guy who gets needlessly caught up into his neighbor's drama. But it goes so much more into that, kind of like Catcher in the Rye. Yeah, so I enjoyed it quite a lot. The next one is The Secret Life of Bees, which was actually a pretty successful movie, I think. It had Dakota Fanning as the main girl. Basically, the main character, runs away from her emotionally abusive father and discovers, sorry about that, I have dogs, but discovers a place where her mom used to be, and it was this woman's, I'm going to say beehive, but just because I can't recall what it actually is called. I haven't seen this for a while. This is a bookmark that an old friend of mine bought for me in Ireland. It came with a pen. It's nice. Okay, so the next book I have is called Bad Habits by Jenny McCarthy. And it's kind of another autobiography, but a raunchy one. And it's pretty funny. Jenny McCarthy was a playmate at one time, and she was also married to Jim Carrey. And she just kind of takes you through her questions as somebody growing up as a Catholic and somebody that went through all the changes with the Catholic Church. Somebody, how they changed their policy of born in sin versus, it's just, no, I don't know. It's good though. I am running out of time, so I'm going to upload part 2 in just a minute. Okay. This one's also embossed. I don't know what it is, but people like to emboss their book covers.